Nice.
Chez, Benson, episode 18. I told you I don't have much of a budget.
Nice.
My good friend, James Hahn, PGA Tour winner. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Yeah, it's different times than a few months back, and so we're doing our best. I'm in Arizona, so the weather's starting to warm up. Occupying ourselves by going to the pool, just exercising around the house. Been to the golf course once this last week, so that was fun. Quite an adventure. Been to Costco once. That's a surprise to see what our new normal life is going to be like for the next year or so. And so, just trying to survive at this point.
So you're in Scottsdale?
Yeah. We've lived here for about going on 6 years now.
6 years, okay. So obviously golf courses are open. Different rules like pin in, devices around the cup, so you can't put it in or something like that, or?
Yeah, I haven't really been out to the golf course, or actually on the course. I've just been to the range, and so I know they sanitize all the carts. When I get there, I wear gloves. I sanitize my hands. I try not to touch my face, and then the same procedure on the way back home. I'll sanitize everything that I've touched in the car. Wash my hands as soon as I get home, take my clothes off in the laundry room, take a shower. It's weird to kind of take it that far, but the fact that I haven't been, infected with the virus, neither has my family, I think it's all worth it.
Absolutely. Are you excited with the season starting again, hopefully mid-June? First question, are you excited about it? And then I know you have a young family. What's the worries on that side?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to get back playing golf again and trying to support my family. The toughest part is trying to decide if it's safe enough for me to go out and play. The playing part is not the part that stresses me out as much as traveling, right? So we go to the airport just like everybody else. It's a lot of people are handling my baggage. As far as sitting, how far away am I sitting from the next person on the airplane? Is anyone else infected on the airplane? Arriving at an airport, places where I personally will be washing my hands a lot throughout the airport, but it can get on my clothes, it can get on my hat, it can get on my phone, and carrying that into my hotel room, again, it just pretend like the person you're closest to in proximity has the coronavirus. What steps are you gonna take to protect yourself from the virus? And so, just that in itself is like it's huge. A lot of these extra processes that we have to take in place to make sure that we don't get infected at a golf tournament, so we can participate and play. And then, will they have testing? Will they have testing throughout the week? Will my caddy get tested? Is anyone at the hotel that I'm staying at infected? I mean, there's so many questions that, in my opinion, need to be answered before we go out and play golf and can feel comfortable out there.
Not only that, but logistic-wise, we don't even know if families are going to be allowed to travel. So if you commit to playing the first event, you might as well play quite a few because obviously you might have to quarantine yourself from them when you come back home. So it's a lot of logistic problems. Take me through James Hahn. Where's James Hahn? Where are you born? Where'd you grew up? And how did golf become an integral part of your life?
So I was born in Korea, came over to the States when I was 2, started golf when I was 4. My dad just got lucky, and he wanted to be in the golf industry. And so he won a lease from the city of Oakland to operate a driving range. And so he held this lease for about 20 years, to where I can go out to the driving range and practice for free. And I would help pick up golf balls. And, it was kind of our extended backyard. We'd go there every day after school. all the way from elementary school through high school. And so I basically did that every day growing up. Every summer was at the golf course. We would sneak out on the golf course in the afternoons, and just play a couple holes and just to see what it's like to be out there. And I didn't really start playing full rounds until maybe about age 7 or 8. Would start off with 9 holes and then work my way up to 18. But for us, it was, hitting balls and just kind of learning the swing, learning the etiquette, learning, the rules of the game were more important to me and my dad growing up than learning how to just hit the ball far. So we would, read the rule books every Saturday. We'd have these junior clinics that, would test us on these rules. And so did that, ended up earning a scholarship to the University of California, Berkeley, played there for 2 years, redshirted my 3rd year, decided to graduate instead of playing on the team my senior year. And then from there, just turned pro, went through a lot of ups and downs. And, it took me a while to make it on the Canadian tour where I played for 2 years. And then from there, that's where we met. Absolutely. And then from there, made it to the, from there, I made it to the now it's called the Corn Ferry Tour. Back then it was a nationwide tour, then the web.com tour. So kind of shows you how old I am for me to live through 3 of those different names. And then finally made it to the PGA Tour. And it's, I think, year number 7 for me on the PGA Tour. And I've been fortunate enough to win a couple times on tour. And so, I definitely started from the bottom, started grassroots, mini tours and Canadian tour to Corn Ferry Tour. And now I just feel like I'm living a dream. And, every day it's a blessing to be out there playing on the PGA Tour against the world's best.
Now, you have obviously through your years, college life and all that, you have something very interesting. You are by far the most knowledgeable person in the shoe business. So tell my viewers a little bit about an odd job that you had for a while.
Yeah. So this was probably around 2007, 2008. I was dipping around different kinds of jobs. Actually had my real estate license. Was trying to sell mortgages and sell real estate, buy and sell real estate. And it wasn't going well. That everyone knows that right around 2008, 2009 is when the stock market tanked and people were foreclosing on their homes, and I couldn't sell a loan to save my life. And so got out of that industry and started working for Nordstrom, where one of my best friends, still keep in touch with him to this day, Joe Brazel. Was the assistant manager, was the manager of the women's salon shoes at Nordstrom's, and it was in Walnut Creek. I worked in a couple of different shoe salons, and so worked there for I think about 6 months, a little over 6 months, and then from there worked at a golf course because I wanted to get back into golf, and so that kind of jump started my career to be able to have some money in my pocket. Number one, I can buy food, buy range balls. I can afford to play in a golf tournament and not really max out all my credit cards. And so from there, basically took my money and played on the Korean tour for a year, and played there for a summer. Came back with almost the same amount of money that I started out with, which is good. It was about $8,000 budget to start off the year. And so from there, played at the Canadian Tour Q School and got my card and played there for 2 years, and was fortunate enough to win twice on the Canadian Tour as well.
You sure have. Let's talk about your wins on the PGA Tour. Obviously, 2 incredible courses that you have your name on the trophy. Tell me about win number 1.
Yeah, win number 1, 2015. At the time, it was called the Northern Trust Open, and it was at Riviera Country Club in LA. Probably one of my favorite golf courses. But it's one of those moments where I had planned on taking the whole fall series off, for personal reasons. My wife was pregnant, and we were expecting our first child a few weeks after the Northern Trust Open, and so decided to play all the West Coast events and was having a pretty good run. I felt good about my game. So I'm playing in LA, and it's knowing that I'm going to take at least a month off. It was very important for me to make the cut and play on the weekend and just kind of build some momentum. So that way, when I come back, I'm not too far behind. And so there was a lot of pressure for me to play well. And I kept telling my wife that week that if I finished top 5, that I would buy her a new car. And so I had these dreams like, hey, she needs a new car for the baby. She needs a new car for the baby. And so I'm playing this tournament, and, I'm playing well, and the course is playing super tough. Played with Dustin Johnson in the final round, and we, basically just going head to head. And I kind of told myself that if I can't beat Dustin Johnson, then I probably won't win the golf tournament. So let's just kind of play it as a match play situation. And so Dustin and I were basically just exchanging shots, shot for shot. And then we ended up tying on the 72nd hole, and we played in a playoff, did a 3-hole playoff, and then I birdied the 14th hole, which is our third playoff hole, a par 3. And that started off my, first win on the PGA Tour.
What kind of car did you get your wife?
We ended up not getting her a car. We ended up getting a BMW X5. I'm not really like a guy that likes to show off a lot, and so we just got a car big enough. But at the time she was driving a Volkswagen Jetta, and so it's one of those I couldn't have been a PGA Tour winner and have my wife driving around in a Volkswagen Jetta, and so I just had to get a little upgrade from that.
Hubbard still has his 2005 CRV, but no one wants him to change because he can't drive. He's gonna buy $100,000 car and ruin it. So
right.
He's better with what he has. Tell me about win number 2. Another.
Win number 2 was good. I wasn't playing well up until that golf tournament. Had just changed club equipment manufacturers, so I went from TaylorMade to PXG. And everything was, it really wasn't the golf clubs. It was, just a lot of bad breaks. And I can go through every single round, every tournament of, if I just didn't have that mud ball and hooked it left and it plugs in a bunker, now I make bogey instead of par, missing the cut by 1. And there's a lot of momentum that goes with that as well. When you're playing well, the momentum's, on your side, and golf feels easy. When you're not playing well, it feels like the whole world's against you. And so I had missed 8 straight cuts up until the Wells Fargo Championship. And, Wells Fargo wasn't necessarily a golf course that suited me well because, it's a long ball hitter golf course, long ball hitting golf course. You have to draw it off the tee, a lot of longer irons to the golf course. And at the time I was fading my drives. And so I was like, man, I don't even know if I want to play. I can't fathom missing 9 straight cuts. And so at that point, my caddy and I talked, and we were just like, let's just go out there and just free it up. What's, the difference between you missing the cut and you not playing that week? You're still going to get 0 points, but at least you can learn from it. Mm-hmm. And so I went into the golf tournament with no expectations, and, started straightening out my ball flight and, got a couple tweaks in my swing earlier in the week. And it ended up being another great week, and got into a playoff with Roberto Castro and beat him on the first playoff hole.
Well, Hollow, an amazing golf course in Charlotte. How many majors have you played in so far?
I don't know the answer to that, but I've played in every major and I've made the cut in every major. So that's kind of a feather in my cap. Granted, growing up as a kid, I've always wanted to win a major, and I'm still young enough where I can compete, and I feel like I can win on that large of a scale. But you have to learn to crawl before you can walk, and just being able to play in every major and make the cut and play on Sunday afternoon, I feel like is a good accomplishment for me so far.
What was your first experience at the Masters like? And you remember receiving the invitation in the mail? And I
do remember receiving the invitation mail. after you win, you're almost guaranteed to earn this invitation to the Masters. And just kind of waiting around, and finally you get a letter from Georgia, and I'm like, I don't know anybody in Georgia, like this has to be the one, right? And so you open up the letter, and it was one of those like I didn't want to wrinkle the paper, I didn't want to so I'm like carefully, because what it is, right? And so I showed my wife, and it was a good experience to be able to feel that opening up the letter and earning that invite. And so the Masters itself is everything you could possibly imagine a major to be, and even more so for the Masters. You got there early, had my whole family there. It's just the whole experience from not being able to find the golf course to where everyone says you're not going to be able to find this. It's basically there's no signage in front of the on the street that tells you this is Augusta, Georgia, Augusta National Golf Course. And so we're driving down Magnolia Lane. Just the whole experience is pretty far out there. But the thing that I like to stress the most about the unexpected at Augusta National would probably be how slopey the fairways were, and the whole golf course in general. You see it on TV, but they'll show you someone teeing off on, for example, hole 2, right? They'll show you someone teeing off on hole 2, and then you see their second shot from the hill. They see you show the ball in the air, and then the ball lands somewhere around the green. It's a reachable par 5, but you get down there, and it's that's a steep drop off on your second shot. I mean, you're probably hitting 20, 30 yards downhill. And if you don't catch the slope and you're hitting from the top of the hill, you feel like you're miles away from the green. But guys that draw the ball can take advantage of the slope. It hits off, the bunker on the right, and it can roll another 40, 50 yards. Things like that people don't really see from just watching Augusta National on TV.
It's so hard at Augusta with the speed of the greens, the slope on the greens. You have to hit a certain section of the green, but you're on a lie that's. Have you ever had a flat lie at Augusta? I mean, I've never seen one. I've been there once, and I couldn't believe your feet are never flat, and you're trying to hit this ball, within a 20 by 20 spot on the green, and it's incredibly difficult to hit the right spot from not a flat lie.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there, and more so on the greens. I can replay a lot of the Masters, year after year after year, and you see Tiger Woods and all these great players and where they're putting from and where they're chipping from and how much break they're playing on hole 16, right? And hole 2 to a back right pin location, and how much that drops off. And you get up there for the first time in real life, and you're like, oh, okay, this putt breaks a lot. And you get up there, you're there's it's a probably you can play a 30-foot putt with about 20 feet of break, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is the toughest putt I've ever seen in my life. But yet you see it on TV, and you're like, these guys are easy 2-putt for Tiger Woods. All these people, they're because they've been there for year after year after year after year. But for the first time playing, you're like how do you know the difference between a 12-foot, from 30 feet, if a putt's going to break 12 feet or 16 feet, right? You can misread it by 4 feet. And that's perfectly normal at Augusta National, because you really can't judge it. But unless you've done there and, and hit that shot before, and know exactly where the pin locations are, and putt to that hole from 100 different angles. And so those are just a few of the things that kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah, it's incredible. Have you ever had a chance to play with Tiger? Have you been paired with him?
Nope. Still haven't played with them. I would definitely enjoy it, but golf is tough enough to where I really don't need 3,000, 5,000 fans all rooting for the guy that I'm playing with or playing against, right? I've heard a lot of stories where it does feel like you're playing like you are an away team in a basketball match where everyone's rooting for the other team, right? And so little things like Tiger saying, I've heard a lot of stories where he'll tell his playing partner, hey, look, I'm going to mark my ball so that I give you the opportunity to finish first. because as soon as he finishes, the whole crowd moves. And so you can have 5 feet for par, right? And he taps in for his par, and the whole crowd's moving, and my caddy's staying there, and everyone will, you know, start saying, "Hey, everyone, you know, one more player, everyone just, you know, stop moving around," and it makes that 5-footer a lot longer and a little more difficult to make.
I caddied for Hadwin last year at Riviera, and we were in front of Tiger for Saturday and Sunday's round, and it was really hard for me to try to. I had to look back to make sure that he doesn't hit while Adam's going to hit, and you know, there's always people moving because they're trying to get in position, you know, to get a better view at him, and they forget that there's golfers in front, so it's always. You know, it's always a little bit difficult. Now, you've mentioned playing in front of crowds. What's going to be? Do you think it's going to be easier for you to play without a crowd when the PGA Tour resumes? Are you going to be looser? Are you going to be a little more relaxed?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the exact same. You know, the crowd. You know, I'm not a Tiger Woods, shocker. And so usually people that follow me are in the, you know, the dozen to the 2 dozen people that think that I'm Kevin Na or something. And they're like, "Yeah, Kevin." So, yeah, really, it's not going to affect me too much. It is going to, honestly, it's going to suck, right? Because we are entertainers. We're golfers, but we're athletes and we like to entertain. And so, there's a little bit of, I guess, reward for making birdies on par 3s and the crowd's going crazy, or, you know, reaching a par 5 and 2 and everyone's like, "Oh, you know, great shot." You get a lot of like adrenaline from the crowd, and how they're cheering you on. And so to not be able to play for the fans, right, let alone have them at a golf course, you know, it's just a little bitter. But if that's what we need to do to be safe, you know, then you know, so be it, and we'll try to do our best.
And guys might lose a few more balls too, because no one's there to find them. You know.
Right. And so you know, I'm not hopefully expecting the spectators to stop my ball or find my ball, but no, you're absolutely right. You know, a lot of the times the spectators help in finding golf balls because they're either you've hit them or you've almost hit them, and they know where your ball went. But you know, it's going to be like playing a normal round on a normal golf course with your friends. That's what it's going to be like.
Any good stories about a spectator being hit by a James Hahn ball? Or?
I've hit a couple in my time, and all of them have gotten some type of you know, signed autographed golf ball or golf club. But I remember playing with Phil Mickelson, and we both hit one left at a golf tournament. It was the tournament in Wilmington, when the Wells Fargo Championship had changed to a golf course for a year. And we both hook it left, and we walk up there, and his ball didn't hit someone, and my ball did, and the whole crowd's there. The guy's holding his head. He's on the ground, and people are videotaping and filming. And he turns, and you know, there's people on their cell phones and they're videotaping the whole thing. And he's like, "Let the record show that it was not my ball that hit this person. It was James Hahn," right? And so everyone kind of got a kick out of it because he's kind of notorious for hitting people.
Yes, he does. I mean, he's so wild up to see that. You know, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. All right, I got some viewers' questions for you. A member at my club, Louis Paradis, wants to know, have you ever had to fire a caddy, or have you ever been fired from a caddy? And is it awkward, or is it really like a business decision?
Yeah, all of them are awkward. Yes, I've fired many caddies in my time. I've never personally been fired from a caddy, and I say that because I think that you know, I'm really hard to work for. let's get that straight. But caddies are in a position to where they need to make money, and if they feel like I'm a good resource or an opportunity for them to make money, then they'll caddy for me regardless of how I treat them. And I don't treat them poorly or anything. No. I mean, I don't spit on them. I don't. Yeah. So it's more so that I hold them to a higher standard of, you know, like if I ask you for the wind I'd like for you to either tell me what the wind's doing or tell me you don't know. But for someone to completely guess what the wind's doing and be completely wrong, I feel like is not appropriate. Either, just be honest and say, hey, I don't know. And then we can figure it out together.
Yeah.
But, little things like that can be the difference between hitting it on the green or hitting it in a bunker, because a lot of these pins, and as you know, they're tucked like 3 or 4 feet from the right edge with bunker or water or has some type of hazard. And so I fired many caddies in my time. And the awkward part of it is, every caddy wants to know, like, so tell me why you're letting me go. And I feel like is a tough question to answer, because you're basically telling this person that you want to still have respect for, like, this is everything that's wrong with you and what you do. And sometimes it's, like, it's just a business decision, and caddies like want more, right? They're like, no, that can't be the reason why. Like, tell me another reason, because that's not a good enough excuse. So basically, I'm like throwing them under the bus. It's like, well, first of all, I don't like the way your deodorant smells. You breathe too hard. You showed up late on Thursday, and just little things that, I all of a sudden now I'm making up things to make that caddy feel good about why I let them go. And so it's always an awkward conversation.
It sure is. It sure is. Alex Legault wants to know, how much does data influence your practice and preparation? Are you a big TrackMan guy? Are you?
Yeah, I think it's very important because of it's only going to make you better, right? And so little things like knowing what my TrackMan numbers are prior to an event, during event, and after an event, right? If I'm hitting a lot of fades off the tee, it's going to change my swing path, a lot of my different numbers. If all of a sudden I'm hitting a lot of draws at the golf tournament, my name numbers are going to change, and I want to know why. Like, if my draws aren't drawing or my fades are fading too much, I want to know the reason why. And it's sometimes it'll save you an hour or so on the range trying to figure it out just by knowing, hey, you're swinging up on it too much, or your angle of attack is too much up. Knowing these things, I can fix my golf swing in probably 2 or 3 swings and say, okay, this is what it feels like. I thought I was swinging pretty level, but TrackMan says I'm swinging 4 up. Okay, this is what I have to feel like. And TrackMan will tell me, if I'm making those adjustments or not.
Now, do you use like ShotLink, because the stats are unbelievable now? Do you prioritize your practice sessions according to your statistics via ShotLink? Like, if you had a tough week, greens and rag, like, are you going to spend more time hitting balls? If you're just, like putting, for example, sometimes your putting stats are not good, but you hit it to 40 feet all day. And obviously you're going to 2-putt, maybe a 3-putt here and there, and there's not many 1-putts. So how much do you prioritize your practice sessions with the statistics?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've talked to Mark Brody, the inventor of ShotLink, a few times, and ShotLink, it's good for the general overall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something as simple as putting is not so simple when you break it down on ShotLink, right? Someone who putts in the morning at the Players Championship will putt better than someone who putts in the afternoon at the Players Championship. Bermuda grows, the grain affects the putt, speed affects the putt, and so it's I like to take in the information, but I take it with a grain of salt, right? Just because it says I'm let's say 100 in proximity to the hole from 120 to 125 doesn't mean I'm a bad wedge player from 100 to 125. It could be as simple as, right, knowing that information, that I'm better from 80 to 100 than I am from 100 to 125, could be as simple as, okay, instead of hitting, let's say, a 3-iron to lay up on this par 5, it's better for me to hit a 2-iron or a 3-wood and get closer to the hole, because my proximity to the hole will be higher. And so it doesn't necessarily mean I need to improve on those areas. And Sean Foley told me a while back, it just means sometimes to just avoid those parts of your game, right? If I'm no good from 30 yards, why would I hit my 3-wood on a par 5 30 yards in front of the green if that's the worst part of my game? You know, I'd rather hit a hybrid or a 3-iron to 80 to 100 yards where my proximity is closer than 30 yards. And so little things like that definitely do help. But at this point, I don't feel like there's any weakness. I mean, the difference between hitting a 30-yard shot to 12 feet versus hitting a shot to 14 feet might be the difference of, hey, you're the 60th best player from 30 yards versus 160, right? Correct. And we're just talking about 2 feet, but the difference in, making a 12-footer versus making a 14-footer might be the difference of like maybe 1 percentage point, right? Maybe one or 2 percentage points. And so that's kind of how I think of shot length, but to each their own. A lot of people swear by it, but I'd like to just take it with a grain of salt and just improve every aspect of my game.
When I was out there with Mark Hubbard, it was very from the first few weeks that I've caddied for him in 2014 on the web, now the Corn Ferry, it was clear as day that on a par 5 or a short par 4, either put him inside 10 yards of the green or outside 70. From 20 to 69 yards, you're right. Statistically speaking, it was just average. So we always made a conscious effort. Just don't leave yourself the bad yardage. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad player. It's just to each his own. Next question, David Sampson. What do you eat on the course? Like, are you a beef jerky guy? Or are you? So what's a typical like morning round and afternoon round snack for you?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't eat a lot of bananas, mainly because I feel like it's a lot of sugar and, you get your highs and your lows. But I'll have a banana every once in a while if I'm feeling really low. I'll have like peanut butter jelly sandwiches. I'll have granola bars. I'm just your typical, whatever you see. I like to eat nuts. I like to eat sometimes beef jerky. I'll just grab whatever. I think during the summer when it gets so hot, it's hard for me to eat a lot on the golf course, and I'm burning a lot of calories. So I'll have protein shakes a lot on the golf course. Morning rounds, sometimes I don't eat as much because I can kind of squeeze in a late breakfast and then get kind of a late lunch. It's the in-between rounds, right? So if you're teeing off at, let's say, noon, right? And my warm-up will start up at, let's say, 10:30. So that means I'm having breakfast at 9:30. And I won't eat until the end of my round. So you tee off at noon, and you don't finish till about 4:30, maybe 5 o'clock, and I've missed lunch. And so those are the tough rounds for me where, I'm snacking all day, but I'd love to just sit down and have a cheeseburger every once in a while when I make the turn, but it's probably not good for my grips getting all slippery.
Are you an In-N-Out guy as far as a cheeseburger or?
Yeah, I'll go for anything. I like In-N-Out. I like Five Guys. I like, Smash Burger. I like them all.
All right, Yogi's rapid fire. You ready?
All right, let's do it.
Worst shot you've ever hit on the PGA Tour?
Ooh, good one. Gosh, I honestly I don't know because I don't like to remember my bad shots, but I'm sure I've had a few. Gosh, probably the worst shot that I can think of right now is maybe 2 years ago I played in the Players Championship and hole 17, the little island green par 3. I hit my ball, went for the back pin location, hit my ball in the water, and then took a drop on the drop zone and bladed that one over the green. So that one kind of stung a little bit and ended up missing the cut by a couple.
We had Russell Knox, who on a previous episode that took us through the 9 he made on
Yeah.
17.
Really easy to do, by the way.
It is. It's just beautiful. Favorite event on tour?
Uh, even though it's my first win, I'd have to say it's called the Genesis Open now, but it's the tournament at Riviera Country Club. By far one of the best golf tournaments that we have all year.
Absolutely. Now, where you grew up in California, is it in the LA area or?
No, I grew up in Northern California, so more towards San Francisco,
Okay.
Oakland, and so. But Riviera, it just has that history to it. You see all the champions in the locker room, and quite a special place for me.
It sure does. Favorite sport team?
Oakland Raiders for now, but they just moved to Vegas, so I'm not sure how if I'm gonna be on that bus. But right now, Oakland A's is a really close second. But it's so hard to see your home team leave Oakland and go to Vegas, and so that's a tough one. Gosh, sore subject.
We have, I'm sorry, I didn't think about it. I should have. We have a lot of Canadian viewers. Are you into hockey a little bit, or?
A little bit, yeah.
Or Sharks?
Sharks are good. Sharks are, they are in San Jose. I'm out of Oakland, so it's probably about 30, 40 minutes away. They're really good, but hockey to me is in the same season as basketball, and so I'm always switching back and forth between hockey and basketball. I like basketball a little bit better, being from the Bay Area, and the fact that the Warriors are doing really well.
Now, I've seen you, so we went out a few times over the years. I've seen you dance, and we've seen you dance at the 16th hole in Phoenix. Have you ever taken dance lessons?
I personally have not. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but
well, you got some swag.
I do a lot of dancing at home with my 5-year-old, and so maybe that's kind of where I get it from. I'm just getting my moves from her.
Oh, excellent. Lastly, a swing you wish you had other than mine, of course.
Yeah. Gosh, I mean, I've always liked Adam Scott's swing. I've always liked Tiger Woods' old swing, like 1997 where he, won the Masters. There's a lot of swings that I like.
But you have a very long and elegant swing, too.
I appreciate that. Probably one of the better ball strikers that I've seen in person and that I've played with is Xander Schauffele. He doesn't seem like he's ever missed a shot. It's just really solid. But yeah, it's probably one of those guys.
All right. Well, James Hahn, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck. I'll see you out there on tour, and it's always a pleasure, my friend.
Sounds good. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All righty.
All right. See ya.